Hey YouTube, it's your boy Fiji, and I'm here to talk about why Procreate is taking over the digital art world. Alright, so reason number one Procreate is taking over the digital art world is that it's so readily accessible to everyone. Like, for example, if you have a think about kids, people with iPads, it's not just on the iPad Pro where you can get an Apple Pencil. You can get an Apple Pencil on any iPad now, I believe, right? Which means that if you get Procreate, you can paint high quality artwork with any iPad that exists, and it's going to be the standard going forward. The Apple Pencil is going to become like a normal thing. Seeing someone with an Apple Pencil now is like, oh cool, you've got one too, hail you up, I respect that. It's nice to see that you have an Apple Pencil and you have the capability to draw. For someone like me, I've been doing digital art since about 2008, right? And that's when I very first started. I was garbage in 2008, but that's when I started, you know what I'm saying? And that's also probably when I started taking art a little bit more serious than it's just, I'm just better than everyone else that I know, in terms of that. It's now I'm trying to be a professional, right? So going from that point in time, which is, almost 13 years ago in September, to now, and seeing that people can walk around and have a mobile basically a mobile Wacom Cintiq. It's crazy to me, right? Because that means that everybody that wants to do digital art can really readily get into the market. Some of these iPads are £500, $600, so you have to look at it like that. The price point is low. A lot of people are getting them as presents. A lot of family members are getting the iPad and an Apple Pencil as a present for their children. Procreate is taking over because it's the most popular drawing app on the iPad, and I think at some point in time it will be the most popular drawing app in the world. In fact, I do already think it's the most popular drawing app in the world. Why do I think that? Because as far as apps go, and when I say apps, I don't mean applications plural. I don't mean applications on everything, because obviously Procreate is only available on the iPad. I'm saying apps in terms of iPad apps. It is probably, and I stand on this, the most popular drawing app on that platform, which means it's at some point going to be seen as the standard for what you get when you get an iPad. And it's only $10 or £10, which means when you pay for Procreate, you have it forever. And it's just going to keep getting better and better and better and adding more value to its already massive value. I've done work on Procreate that I've been paid big amounts of money for, right? And it's just something I've done on the iPad, versus sitting at home, having my iMac, having my Wacom Intuos, having my Adobe subscription with Photoshop and Illustrator and all these pieces of software to do work, which is beautiful. I'm recording on Adobe Audition right now, but you have to really think about the fact that Procreate is in your backpack. I take my iPad Pro everywhere. If a friend says to me, we're going for a drive, I will take my iPad Pro. When I don't have my backpack and my iPad Pro, I feel lost, because I feel like I missed out on an opportunity to produce some artwork. And if you're an artistic person, if that's your mindset, if your mindset is very much productivity and art creation, and I feel like we can get very obsessive as artists, it's perfect to have it everywhere you go. You can go to the park and have it. You can have it because my progression was this was my progression. I had a laptop and a Wacom Intuos 3, and I used to carry around my Wacom pen and my laptop, and I'd pull out my laptop anywhere. I'd pull it out at the Chinese food store. I'd pull it out anywhere. I'd pull it out on the benches in the city centre when we're sitting down hanging around. I'd pull it out anywhere I can pull it out, but still it's a laptop and a graphics tablet, versus the iPad. The screen is really good in terms of its retina display. There's a lot of things going on the iPad Pro that just make it better. And then not to mention, it's a 4K screen. If I'm not mistaken, my one is the 2018 version, and I think it's a 4K screen. I've never seen any dips in quality in Procreate when I've been using it. It always looks super crystal sharp and clear. as much so, if not more so, than my iMac. So what I'm saying is, it's taken over, and it's here to stay, and it's only going to get better, and it's only going to produce more competition, which means that market's only going to get bigger. iPads are only going to get stronger. They're only going to be able to handle more layers, more RAM, more things at once. You know, Procreate's going to add more and more features, which is going to make it, you know, it's going to make it a more applicable drawing application. And to top it all off, we have to understand this. Procreate is fully focused on drawing and painting. You know, we complain now, oh, there's not that many filters, and that's true. There's a lot of things on Procreate that you are limited to because it doesn't have a lot of the functionality that Photoshop has. But Adobe went and released their mobile version of Photoshop, and it's absolute garbage. They went and released Fresco, and it's just not a good software in terms of, if you compare it to, if you're already using Procreate, why on earth would you use Fresco? There's no reason. You can't justify that. That doesn't make sense because it's not as intuitive. It's not as, you know, there's not as much things going on. There's not a big community surrounding Fresco. You know, Fresco to me seems like some kind of afterthought. It seems like people use it. It seems like people are hired by Adobe to use it just for videos. I don't think it's a serious software, but that's a topic for another video. I'm going to probably download Fresco and mess around with it now. Now it's had a few revisions, and I'm going to download the mobile version of Photoshop. But this video is about Procreate. And what I'm trying to say is, the amount of people I've seen using Procreate on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, everywhere, the amount of people that are using Procreate and pushing the boundaries. I'm seeing concept art guys bring in photo textures and make really high class concept art in Procreate, things that I didn't really think about doing myself, you know, just like things like that. When I'm starting to see it's getting to that point, I'm like, yeah, we've reached it. We've reached what I like to call creative uncanny valley. What is creative uncanny valley? Creative uncanny valley is when you don't know what software was used, because we assume the highest quality work we always see is always in Photoshop. Well, guess what? There's a guy called Evan Mel Amundsen, and he makes the best Procreate artwork I've seen that looks better than all his stuff he's done in Photoshop. If not exactly the same level, it looks exactly as good as all the stuff he's done in Photoshop, and he's ridiculous. He's one of the greatest, like, in terms of the fidelity of his work, the level of quality is fantastic, and it looks exactly the same in Procreate as it does in Photoshop. So we've got to a point where Procreate is basically just as good in terms of what we can do with it. The only difference is it's portable. It goes everywhere. You can whip it out whenever you want. You don't lose your files often. Files don't really get corrupted. I haven't had any files get corrupted in Procreate. I haven't lost any of my files. I haven't lost any of my time lapses. I've been using it for 2 years. You can airdrop the stuff to your iMac. If you use a Mac, you can airdrop the files to your iMac. You can airdrop the full PSDs to the iMac if you don't want to lose them. Like, there's so much functionality to this thing. And then the intuitiveness. I didn't even speak about that yet. I just briefly mentioned it. It's so friggin' intuitive. It's ridiculous how intuitive it is. Can you imagine if Photoshop and all these other software took a leaf out of Procreate's book and started developing versions of their workspaces that are this intuitive with a Wacom? So when you work on your home computer, you don't feel like a downgrade from Procreate. Because when I work on my computer, yeah, I'm used to, I've worked this way for years. My hand goes on Alt, and my pen has an Alt key on it, and then my right click is the upper button, right, on my Wacom pen. I'm used to working like that, and it's very comfortable. But yo, nothing beats a double tap to the screen to go back. Nothing beats holding down for the eyedropper, just putting your finger down. But also, that is an issue. We'll talk about that another time. I'd like if Procreate had a quicker way to eyedrop colors. I think it'd make painting a little bit easier. But other than that, yo, the level of intuition, like how intuitive it is mad. The way you can liquefy multiple layers at once. Like, there's so much to this software that it's and I know it's been like, I went back and I looked at, you know, Nikolai Lock-Hertzen's work, and he's been working on Procreate at a high level for years and years and years. And if I can say anything about people that have been using software before it was really developed to the point it is now, there's so much you could do with just brushes, texture, and your mind. There's so much you can do, and that's in testament to, if you go look back at people like I Draw Girls channel from like 10 years ago when he was using, you know, older versions of Photoshop and whatever. You can, as long as you can create incredible artwork. That's facts. And I just want to put that out there. So a lot of the people saying that they don't like Procreate's brushes and stuff, I fully hear you, because I don't really like them as much as I like Photoshop's. The brush engine is in fact different. It's its own engine, but it's coming up. It's coming up. It's getting good. It's getting good right before our eyes. It's got some functionality Photoshop don't have. It's got a blending, it's got an in-brush blending option, right? Which at first wasn't very good, but they added that blur. And when they added that, it became very similar to a software like Clip Studio or something. All right, apologies, my phone rang. So all I'm trying to say is, right now, for me, Procreate is my #1 option for all my sketches, everything I want to do, even like pieces that I plan to do on my computer. I'm thinking there must be a way I can do it in Procreate and it be just as efficient. Today, whilst I was on intermission, because my phone did ring and I went away for a few hours and came back to this recording, I found some videos on YouTube of some guy doing concept art, and he's got a brush pack, and I hoped he would have, and I bought it, and the brushes are fantastic. Now I feel like I have more tools to help me kind of go towards where I want to go, and it's brand new soil. Okay, Procreate's brand new soil, because what needs to be understood is that this software has a whole new engine for people to explore. It has a whole bunch of new things for people to check out that are going to go to a higher level. So all I'm trying to say is this is important. It's only, as I said this before, it's only going to keep gradually getting better and better and better and better over time, and it's going to get to a point where it's just as good as Photoshop, or it's as good as Paint, or it's as good as any of these kind of software, right? And when it gets to that point, what use will Photoshop be other than graphic design and photography to artists? You know, that's all I'm saying. But anyway, guys, I have been Fiji. This is my art channel. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse that I put in the background, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I recommend everyone to get Procreate and just play around with it and build up their thing. But that's all I got to say. Thank you again, and peace.